Well, good evening, President Webb, board members, Dr. Brown. I'm pleased to present our annual FIRST report to the board. As you can see, it's the 2016 School FIRST rating, and of course it's a couple of years behind, but we kind of have to understand. So FIRST was started back through a Senate Bill 875 in 1999 as a way to measure how school districts were doing financially. The rating systems have changed frequently over the last few years. The rating indicators had gotten up to, I think, a total of 22 until they kind of tanked the whole system and started over last year. We had 7 indicators, and now we're back up to 15. They look very different than they have in the past. The calculations for this rating are based on the 14-15 fiscal year. As you know, we complete our audit the year after our fiscal year. That data doesn't get to TEA till the spring, so it takes them another few months, so we're always a couple of years behind on that rating. The objectives were just, as I said before, to assess the quality of financial management in public schools, and they're constantly looking for ways to make that a more meaningful piece. I think I was told that one of the reasons they changed the system is too many districts were getting superior, so they thought maybe they really wanted a bell curve, is what they told us at the meeting that they were planning. So the ratings last year, as they started the new process where there were 7 indicators, basically you either passed or failed. So this year they've added in some similar pieces, just like our schools are looking. And so we have A, B, C, and F. So superior achievement is 70 to 100 points. Above standard achievement is 50 to 69. Standard is 31 to 49, and below 31 is substandard. So 10 of the indicators you can generate up to 10 points. The other 5 indicators are pretty much pass-fail. There are things like not getting an unmodified opinion on your audit report, defaulting on your debt. So there are those pieces I think you had seen in your packet before. Birdville received a score of 98 out of 100 points. As you can imagine, I'm not happy with that score, but I'm going to explain a couple of pieces to it. I do want to say that we have received the top rating since inception of the rating 15 years ago, so we're very proud of that. So a couple of the rating indicators, and I wanted just to kind of talk to you about these a little bit. There's the one that we did get the full 10 points, but I just want to talk about some of the implications that this could bring to districts really around the state. These 2 I really don't agree with. So one is listed as the number of days of cash on hand and current investments in the general fund for the school district sufficient to cover operating expenditures. And in prior years, we've been discouraged from maintaining too much cash. So to get the 10 points for this indicator, you've got to have 90 days of operating cash to get the full indicator. We had 97 for 14-15, but one of the things that they're doing is you can only pull in short-term investments. So any investment that matures greater than a year is not included. And as we're trying to be a little more aggressive on our interest earnings, when trying to generate a little more revenue, I'm going to have to be watching this a little more carefully to maintain that number of 90 days for our expenditures. I have been reviewing it with our audit information, and I think we look really good for the 15-16 year as well, but that's a piece that they're kind of discouraging us from investing. The other one, which is actually the one we lost the 2 points, this is the question: was the ratio of long-term liabilities to total assets for the school district sufficient to support long-term solvency? And the way this one's calculated is you take your long-term debt minus the new GASB 68 pension piece from TRS, and you take a percentage of your total assets. You have to have below 60% to get all 10 points. We were at 68%, and the reason we're at 68% is because we are an older district and all of our assets are fairly depreciated. So newer districts certainly have a little more advantage. And I do want to point out that when I went to the initial meeting for this FIRST report, there was the Frisco CFO was there. And when they had started looking at some of those, he was extremely upset because he felt like they had a really good debt package and he would never get any points on this. So they added a little caveat and said if you have 10% growth over the last 5 years, you are exempted. There's a number of those. You are exempted from that indicator. So older districts like us who have really good debt service payments, we have 25-year bonds. We do a really good job with our debt. we're going to have a little harder time with this. Now, granted, when we do issue bonds, most of those are going to go into our fixed assets. So we will, we'll have cash and then create fixed assets. But as we're trying to add technology, those types of things that won't go into that fixed asset category, and depreciation is hitting every year, it's going to be a challenge. Now, I've calculated the 15-16 just to let you know, and we are getting lower, so we're at 63%. But we had a new bond issue, and so I'm going to be monitoring this carefully. The aggressive nature of our bond payments is really helping us. So what you've done as a board to put that out there with 25-year bonds and making sure technology bonds are paid off in an average life of 5 years, I think is a really plus. But I've looked at several of our neighboring districts, and some of them got even less points on this particular item. So any district that's trying to better itself that doesn't have fast growth is going to be hurt by this indicator. So anyway, just wanted to point that out. So I do like hundreds. I don't like 98s, but in this case, these are kind of out of my hands.